Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Cedar Falls Board of Education. With that, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Jenny to approve the consent and seconded by Susan. Any questions or comments? Dr. Petty?
Yes, I have just a few. Number one, there's an updated human resources report in front of each of the board members this evening, as well as back at the back table. And also, I wanted to just comment on one of the agreements, the Blackhawk County Public Health Agreement. We were informed that this contract, and you can see it within the board packet, is going to run through December of 2017. Blackhawk County Public Health had informed us here roughly about a month, 5 weeks ago, that they were able to continue that contract through December of this school year. Then at that time it was going to sunset and end. So the contract does not change. It's the same contract that we've had in years past. It just means that it's going to sunset in at the end of 2017. They discussed the fact that funding was an issue, that the kind of the mission of public health has continued to shift and change, and that we just don't fit that mission as they look at public health into the future, as well as the fact that there's a much greater need to meet accreditation standards, and a lot of their staff time is going to go to those accreditation standards over the course of the next several years. We're exploring options. Our whole purpose and focus right now is continuity, to make sure we have continuity for our students, our parents, our staff. We know we have tremendous employees that work in our health services, and we want to make sure that we work with them, work with other options and vendors to ensure that, again, we're focused on providing those services to our students that certainly have health needs or just daily needs when they come into the health offices. So we wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that, and we will continue to keep the board in communication as well as updates as they continue on, but just know that we are looking at different options at this time.
Thank
I
you.
want to say I'm sorry to hear that, because they've become very good partners with us.
Been a very strong partnership the last 6 years.
So it's too bad. Unfortunate. I mean, it's out of their hands.
Yep.
Thank you, Susan. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on now to item C, public comment. I've not been contacted regarding public comment.
Neither have I.
All right. Communications. Any communications?
The only one that I would share is the fact that August typically is a lighter month for board agendas, so I apologize for that. There's not going to be probably robust agenda items here the next board meeting or two, but that's more for community as well, that as we start the school year, there's just usually not a large, lengthy agenda.
Thank you. Moving on to item E on the agenda, property and casualty insurance report.
Thank you. This is our annual report to the Board of Education on our property liability, workers' compensation, casualty report, show coverages and that sort of thing. If we want to pull up the PowerPoint presentation, there we go. Thank you. The district continues to take our insurance and be a part of the Iowa Association of School Boards and Safety Group. There's over 300 school districts and AEAs across the state that participate in that group. And that's underwritten by EMC Insurance with Jester's Insurance Services of Des Moines sort of being the coordinating agent for that. This year, we're insuring just under $164 million worth of buildings and contents. And the premium for that for this year is just under $165,000. Of which we have a $5,000 deductible. Also for property insurance this year, because we're doing construction work at Aldrich Elementary, we need to purchase builder's risk insurance. And you'll see the amount on there is $15.7 million. Obviously, that's not what the cost is to construct the building. The building's closer to $20 million. But there are certain parts of the construction process that you don't insure, like you don't insure the street. Would be a classic example, and we know that the street that Arbors Drive and Ashworth Drive are approximately $1.4 million just for that piece. You don't insure the parking lot, the concrete work for the parking lots and the driveways and that sort of thing. So when you back all that out to the statement of values that Larson Construction provided us, we come up with the 15.7 million. So there's a rhyme and a reason to why we come to that number. And the premium for that for this current school year, the new school year, is $10,575,000, and we have a $1,000 deductible. And you might ask why we need to purchase builder's risk insurance. Well, it is the responsibility of the owner to do that. We choose to do that on our own because we believe we can have a more reasonable cost for the premium versus having the general contractor do that. And unfortunately, we have had to use that before. And so it is something that has saved the district tens of thousands of dollars in the past when we've had windstorm damage during construction work. So that's why we have that. Also, we purchased flood insurance for North Cedar Elementary, and you can see that's through the National Flood Insurance Program. $1.5 million in coverage, that's the maximum amount that we can get. And you can see the premium's just a little over $5,350. Our auto insurance is, again, through the safety group. Our fleet, that's all our school buses, all our support vehicles that are used throughout the district. We crossed the $4 million plateau for this current year. Our premium is at $72,813, and you can see the deductibles. We always price every year the difference between going to a higher deductible, because those are fairly low. But based on an average of the number of claims we have of a year versus the difference in premium between, say, a $250 and a $500 deductible, we're actually better off staying with the lower deductible. The difference in premium from the safety group is really extremely minimal. And then the other nice thing that we have with the safety group is if for some reason that central services would get wiped out, any bus that's 10 years old or newer would be replaced at replacement cost. Buses nowadays are running $100,000 a piece or close to that. And so having a 9-year-old bus and getting 20,000 versus 100 is a big difference. On our liability insurance, there have been a couple of changes for that this year. Our general liability is a part of the safety group, is now at $4 million. It was at $3 million. The umbrella dropped from 5 to 4. So we still have the same amount of general and liability insurance. It's just general and umbrella insurance, excuse me. It's just a matter of how it's structured. And then the big change for this year is group excess liability. We've always had the $15 million per occurrence, but that was an aggregate limit for the year. Well, now we've got a per occurrence and an aggregate of 30. So in essence, if anybody in the pool would need to have a claim that would be that large, there would be those dollars available for all the members. And the insurance includes a medical pollution and violent event response coverage. And you can see our premium is just over $64,000. We also have to insure our underground storage tank out of Central Services, and we have that through the Petroleum Marketers Management out of Urbandale. That insurance also, our coverage increased from $500,000 to $1 million beginning this year, and you can see the premium for that, $1,600. Crime, again, through the safety group, and we generally have $1 million of coverage for theft, forgery, fraud, errors and omissions, and all those things rolled into a basket. You can see the premium is just under $18,900, and then we also purchase electronic data protection compromise insurance. That's changed for this year. We had gone out on the private market last year and the year before to purchase that. This year, employers through the safety group does have a plan that is cost effective. It's approximately half of what our premium was last school year. Now the difference is our deductible is $15,000 versus $5,000, but the premium difference is very significant. So we've made a decision to switch and be a part of the safety group for that for this school year. Our workers' compensation insurance is through United Heartland out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a $1,500 deductible on the claims, and you can see our premium is $209,000. The premium for workers' compensation is based on wages paid to employees, and then the employees are in different classifications, and there's rating factors that determine that. And then the overall district modification factor is a 0.72 for this school year, and again 1.0 is considered the norm or the average. And you can see that our district has consistently been running under the average. I did look today so to give you an idea of how significant that is. The average savings between a 1.0 and where we have been the last 5 years is about $110,000 a year. So we're saving, on average, $110,000 per year of property tax dollars by having that lower modification factor. And that's something that we work very hard on and continually stress to our employees about being safe while they're on the job. So in summary, our district facilities have increased approximately $15 million, or almost 15% in value over the last 5 years. We talked about the increased liability coverage. Cedar Falls Schools continues to have one of the lowest modification factor ratings across the state. You've got that detailed information in your board packet. You can see where we're consistently toward the bottom. And then all of the premiums that we talked about tonight, with the exception of the builder's risk premium, is paid out of the management fund. That's the primary purpose of having the management fund. And the builder's risk comes out of the building project budget. Comparison, this shows a comparison between last school year and this current school year. While our total premium's up $6,000, if you subtract off the $10,000 that we have for builder's risk, it actually is down $4,000. So you can see that we've been able to maintain and improve our coverages without really having to expend more dollars for that. And then this also shows you historically where the dollars have gone. The brown bar is for everything but work comp and under res work comp. And with that, I'd entertain any questions.
Any questions for Doug?
Nope, he answered mine.
Okay, good.
Just a comment, when you look at your workman's comp and the mod factor, again, I think we're probably one of the lowest 2 or 3 school districts in the state of Iowa. And again, that's the work of Doug, Adrian, multiple individuals in both of their departments, as well as our entire staff across our district, because they work really hard to ensure a safe environment, that we communicate on hazards with slips and falls and trips, and making sure that everybody understands, the proper shoes and the proper attire. And again, it's just a really focused approach that we have within our district. So I think that's important to note.
And it hasn't always been that way.
There was a very high mod factor.
These last 5 are good history.
Thank you, Jim.
We've come a long ways.
Do I have a motion to approve the property and casualty insurance report?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to item F, the approval of the 2017-2018 board calendar. It's in your packet.
Yep, within your packet, this is the document that we've had, I think, on a couple different agendas, just underneath informational items, and tonight we're asking approval of the board calendar. We always do this at the first meeting in August. You can see again that the August 28th meeting, which is the next scheduled board meeting, is still labeled as if necessary, but however, we do believe that will be necessary. It does go through some of the informational reports, as well as some of the other components that we have on our board calendar on an annual basis. And it does run through the June 29th, which is a Friday, which is the close of the fiscal year. We do have down our first informational report coming on September 25th, and that will be the robotics group. We'll have some students as well as staff here to talk about the robotics team and the work that's going on there. Then Mr. Swartley will talk a little bit about STEM and the initiatives that we have going on across our district. Then the rest of them, you can see how they are kind of going to be introduced and implemented throughout the year with informational reports and other reports across the district for board members.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the board calendar?
So moved.
It's been moved by Susie. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Susan. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on again to item G, the superintendent's report.
Exciting time, as we always look towards this time frame to have students come back, have staff come back into the school year and start a new school year. We are excited for that. It's been a very quiet summer in a lot of different ways, a lot of construction, as the board members know, that's ongoing. With that, we have an all-school welcome that's occurring on August 21st. We invite all board members to come to that, so if you're able to attend, we'd greatly appreciate that. August 28th is a board meeting that we have coming up. I would be remiss without saying that on August 24th, that is our first day with students. So we will be opening our school day on the 24th. And then I also have down, just as a reminder, at the second September meeting, we will go over and review our 10-year physical plant and equipment levy plan. So we will review that with the board. That's when we'll have our new board sworn in as well, and that will be a good time to go over that plan, to look at that in its entirety and kind of look at the scope of the projects that are going to at least be on the agenda over the course of this upcoming year, but also as we look long-term over the next 9 to 10 years.
Any questions for Dr. Patti? All right. Jim, did you? Okay, hearing none. Okay, we're moving on. Thank you, Andy. Moving on to questions, comments, or concerns from board members.
I have a question. Could you give us an update of how we're coming on the new elementary as well as our other two or three projects?
Yes, New Elementary is actually ahead of schedule. It's coming along extremely well. Off of our website, there's actually an ongoing webcam that you can follow along with the progression of the work. It shifts about every hour from different angles, so you can see the building from different angles, and it's coming along extremely well. We are still very comfortable to say we'll be open up by August of 2018, and feel very good about that. We just had at Orchard Hill our pre-planning organizational meeting to start setting dates and times, and for North Cedar that occurs on Wednesday. So we will start finalizing the calendar, when the work will begin, and when people will be on site on Wednesday based on that North Cedar project. So very exciting. We did complete our our Cedar Heights entryway project as well, and that there's still a few things to do on that, but we're just excited about the safety features that provides and brings that entryway up to kind of the similar standards that we have in our elementary buildings as well as our junior highs, that parents have to come through the office way before they access the academic wing. And we're excited by that.
Good. Any other questions or comments?
Just to highlight some things that are going on with the district. One item, which is tomorrow evening, Tuesday, August 15th, the Cedar Falls Booster Club is hosting their fall kickoff at the high school at the stadium. Supper service is at 6 o'clock, and the program ends at 7, and we encourage our community to attend.
Thank you, Susan. Any others? Hearing none, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourn.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jenny. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.